What's happening, y'all? It's your boy RO3 coming at you live, and welcome to my beginner's course for mixing and mastering with Mixcraft 8 Pro Studio. I just thank you guys first and foremost for deciding to take this course, and I'm really confident in what I'm going to be able to show you guys as far as mixing and mastering within Mixcraft. To begin the course, I just want to say that this is a beginner's course, so we're just going to be hitting the basics on the mixing and mastering. We're not going to go too into depth. I'm going to go ahead and create a advanced course later on, and even further ahead create a expert course. So right now within this video, this is going to be about your main vocals. That's what we're going to be hitting, just a little basics about how to get your compressors on there, what compressors to use, what EQs to use, and a little bit more into depth with that. I'm also going to say that this still works even if you don't have Mixcraft 8 right now. I'm pretty sure this is the latest version of Mixcraft. If you have prior versions as far as like 7, or even if it's not the Pro Studio, if it's just the regular version, it really doesn't matter. The plugins that Mixcraft uses are still within those versions that you guys have. So just hang on tight and let's get started. So as I said, this is going to be just a basics on your main vocals. This song is by my boy Nojo. The song is called Don't Go. If you want to check out his music, go ahead and search Nojo across all social media and all platforms. I know he's got it on Spotify. That's where he's really working on his music. So go ahead and show my boy some love. He always has good music. We're going to go ahead and start just basics, okay? Just basics. I'm going to give you guys a little insight on what to do as far as for your main vocal. So let's go ahead and focus right here. And as you see, I'm going to say this real quick. Just another little tip. I'm sorry, guys, but you see how there's just so much, like this track, this track, this track. When you get a song that has this many tracks, do not feel intimidated. Don't feel like, wow, I got a lot of work to do. This is going to take a long time. There's so many shortcuts. There's so many little tricks you guys can do that can enable you to get the effects on the tracks and get it all accomplished within a short period of time rather than being very tedious with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. First and foremost, without even listening to the track, I know it's going to need compressors. If you don't know what compressors are what brings the high ends of your track down and brings the low ends of your track up. So the parts that are really loud in your track, it brings it down. And the parts that are really quiet, it brings the volume up. So it's completely compressed, and it's a nice blend within your vocals. I always use 2 different compressors. Mixcraft gives you Acoustica compressor, and it also gives you a classic compressor. These are the 2 that I use, and I have preset specific plugins for them, and I named them so I know which ones to use each and every time. I'm going to use what I call bet. That way I know, okay, each one of them are going to have that, except for the classic compressor. Classic compressor is always going to be pre-mastering. Now I will go ahead and pull up my settings for bet. This compressor really works the best for me. You guys can go ahead and pause the video and get these all in the correct order. This is what works best for me. You guys can go ahead and pause the video right now and make sure that your levels are matching what I use for this compressor specifically. And like I said, it's going to totally even everything out. Now, if you have the Pro Studio version, there's going to be a lot more plugins that you can use as far as compressors and EQs and stuff. But like I said, this is just going to be a basic one, so I'm going to keep it really simple for you guys. And I'm going to try to do it really quick. I don't want to have too long and too tedious of a video for you guys. I know you guys have great music. You want to get it sounding professional. You want to knock it out of the park, so let's keep going. We're going to go ahead and throw EQs. Now, with everything, I do both. I do Acoustica and I do Classic. Acoustica EQ, I should have bet. Yes, I do. That way I know that it all works together. Here are the ranges for that. You can go ahead and take these settings, pause the video, and create them in your own. You see I take out all the lows and the extremely high. So you're taking out the really sharpness and the really heaviness of the track. So if you have bumped the microphone, or if you have a fan going in the background, those kind of things, doing this with your EQs totally takes out that noise. It's really great. And then Classic, we're going to do the exact same thing. I got bet. I'll pull up these settings for that as well. Pretty much all we're doing is turning up the output just a little bit with this one. It just increases the sound a little bit better for you. The only thing that really changes, to me personally, your verses need to have a delay on them, which is more or less like an echo. Now you don't want it to be too caked on. You don't want to be too over the top with it. you want it to be very subtle to where it can actually act as an ad-lib. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this right now real quick. If we go onto his verse and we listen to it without the delay. Let's listen to it without anything first of all so you can see what we got so far.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right?
So he's got, it sounds like a pretty good microphone. It sounds like it's something that can definitely work with, and I've worked with Nojo for majority of this year, really working on his album. I'm really excited. He's a really great artist, so I know he's got good quality. But let's go ahead and I'm going to take each thing off one by one. I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier, you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and play it and add each thing as it continues to go.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ. Some advise I should run for life. We've gotten it.
So right there, that's just with 2 compressors and 2 EQs. I'm going to go ahead and finish out his little verse right here. I'm going to take the effect off so you can hear how it was before and put the effect on. And this is just very, very basic. We're not even going into in-depth with it, and we're not even close to being done with this. So just keep your ears open and really listen to the difference.
In about 100 fights, and I forgive you 100 times, but it's like I'm punished twice. Once for your sins, once for mine. You're supposed to be my brother, Mike.
So as you hear, it got a lot more compressed. It probably sounds a lot quieter, but that's because it's got a lot more compressed. We took out the highs, we took out the lows. Now I'm going to show you guys what I mean by adding the delay. It kind of acts like its own ad-libs. So I'm going to show you guys that real quick.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ.
So I always add those to each verse, to my main vocals, I mean. And like I said, it really acts as an ad-lib. You can still have ad-libs as well. As you see, he has backing right here, so it's going to kind of work as ad-libs. But that's something you definitely want to add. Now let's continue going. After we get the EQs and we get your compressors there, you're going to want a reverb. You're always going to want a reverb. Now, he sounds like he's either in a studio or he's in a closet that's soundproof. You can definitely tell that there's not too much echoing going on there. But for me, I never want it to sound like I'm just in a room. I want it to sound, really crispy. Depending upon what the beat that the song's using, that can really determine what kind of reverb I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and play the beat with his verse, and we're going to check it out real quick. That way I can get a good sound for how I want the reverb to go with it.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right?
So right there, I don't really like that. I know I have this reverb on there. I have one that's gold that kind of sounds like it's straight up in a studio. So we're going to go ahead and check this one out. Here's the settings. But first, before you pause your video and write those down, let's go ahead and see how it sounds.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done.
Yeah, I like the way that sounds right there. I like the way that sounds. So go ahead, pull up your settings. Go ahead and copy this down. Pause the video. This, like I said, it really makes it sound like you're in a studio. It takes out any echoing or any noise that's bouncing off the walls or anything like that. I really like that one. Now, what we're going to go into next is you're going to click this Classic Master Limiter. This normally goes onto the entire track over here for the entire mixing and mastering process. But I like to put it on my tracks themselves. I have my own setting that's 5, which means that all I did was just turn it up to 5 decibels for the threshold. It really just adds a mastering effect to your track. So that's what I like to do with my songs, is I don't just like to master the entire project as a whole. I like to go in and master each track individually, which then enables the entire mastering process to be that much better. Okay guys, so that should be the basics of your mixing for your main vocals. Let's go ahead and check it out without the effects, and then I'm going to put the effects on about halfway through the verse so you guys can hear the difference.
Love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ. Some advise I should run for life. We've gotten in about 100 fights, and I forgive you 100 times, but it's love is patient, love is kind. Doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ. Some advise I should run for life. We've gotten in about 100 fights.
Okay, so that's what we have right there. That will be a basic mixing of your main vocals. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little inside tip, which really isn't that little at all. If you have Mixcraft or if you have any other studio software that you're using, you're going to be using these same effects. Every recording software has compressors, they have EQs, they have delays, they have everything. So even if you're not using Mixcraft and you still want to watch this video for mixing and mastering purposes, you can use whatever recording software you're using and still have these effects. Obviously they won't have the same settings, but it will still say your wet mix, your dry mix. It'll still say that within your settings yourselves. But regardless, everyone's going to be different. Perhaps you guys don't like the settings I have like this, but regardless, you still know you need 2 compressors, 2 EQs, your delay, your reverb, and your master limiter. You still know that you need those things. So regardless what kind of software you're using, you can still implement that into your track. Also, what you can implement into your track, and what I highly recommend you go out and purchase, is Izotope Ozone. Me personally, I still use Izotope Ozone 5, and I'm pretty sure they're up to like version 8. But in my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I use Izotope Ozone 5. And what this is a completely different software that you open up within your recording software that further enables your mixing and mastering. And it's totally awesome. So I already see I have all these presets because this is what I use all the time. So I know this is it. It's going to be one of these. And I can go ahead and show you just the awesomeness, I'm going to say. It's really dope, you guys. You pull it up within your software and it just further enables you to do all these different things with your dynamics, with your harmonics, and your another EQ. So this is the settings I have for this EQ, and I can go ahead and go into depth with this for later when I do my advanced mixing and mastering courses. Right now I just want to be really on your guys' level and just be personal with you, be real with you. It's like as if I'm sitting right next to you teaching you how to do this. I don't want to try to be expert professional teacher. I want to be like, hey man, I've been there before. I know how it is not being able to have money to afford a top quality studio, or be able to invest in someone else to do it. So I'm just trying to teach you guys how you can do it on your own, and I really hope you guys are enjoying this so far. So like I said, I use Izotope Ozone 5. I know I'm going to do RO3 because that's kind of specific to my voice, but at the same time I know it's like top notch quality. So I use that for No Joe because it just works well with his voice too. So I'm going to show you guys the difference between not having these and having these. And if you look down here with Mixcraft, you'll see this will probably spike up to like 80-90%, and that just is letting you know that there's so much going on just within this little track that is really making Mixcraft have to process all these plugins, and that's great. It's going to be tough for it to process it, but at the same time you're getting top quality right there because you're doing so much within your track. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ. Some advise I should run for life. We've gotten in about 100 fights, and I forget.
So as you hear, it got a lot louder. So all we have to do is come over here and bring down the decibels. I'm gonna go to about -3.5, and that's cool, man. That's cool. That's letting you know like it's sounding crispy. So let's go ahead and take it all off and check it out now.
Love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't hate, it doesn't lie. If I'm wise and sacrifice, but don't have love, it's for nothing, right? What I've done for Christ. Some advise I should run for life. We've gotten in about 100 fights, and I forgive you 100 times.
So that's sounding really great right there. That's already sounding really crispy. I'm satisfied with that. That is the basic of mixing within a main vocal. The next video will go ahead and go into mixing the chorus of it all, the chorus of the song. Then after that, we're going to go ahead and go into ad-libs, basics on ad-libbing, and we're going to kind of just mix and master this entire song for you guys so you guys can see just a little basics on how I do it. And like I said, in the future, I'm going to go ahead and have advanced course and an expert course where I will literally go into complete detail with you guys. Even on Izotope, I can go into complete detail and show you guys exactly what I did, how I went in, how I changed the settings, how I did all this, and what it means. Right now, I'm just kind of showing you guys, hey, if you want the basics, do what I'm doing, follow what I'm doing in this video, and your stuff's going to sound super crispy. And once you're able to utilize this, or once you're able to learn this, you're able to utilize it. And you can start reaching out to other artists and be like, hey man, I know how to audio engineer, check out my music, and then you can charge them. That's something that's very fortunate for you, and that's something that is kind of a lost art, because you have people that are so focused on rapping, so focused on making the music, they don't even think about mixing and mastering. And once they get to the mixing and mastering process, if they don't know how to do it, it really drains them, it really discourages them. They think, okay, I gotta pay someone to do this. So it's really tough. But if you know how to do it, go ahead and show some love to other people. Do a couple for free for them, and let them see what you're all about, and let them see, your quality, and then they will be willing to pay you. Be like, oh man, he's dope, dude. All I gotta do is send him X amount of money, and it's crispy every single time. So you guys learning this, this is just the basics. Once we get into the advanced and the expert, it's going to totally change how you mix and master your music, and it's going to just further enable you to grow. And I'm just really excited about it. So that's it for this video. Right there, you guys got all the information on how to basic mix your music to get a nice solid foundation for the mixing of your main vocals. So thank you guys for watching, and get ready for the next video coming up.